Hello guys, welcome to the second episode of Racing Game Guide. If you haven't watched the first episode, please watch it. In this video, I will discuss an important topic in vehicle handling, that is suspension. Why is it important and how you can implement it? So let's get started. Now what is suspension? Suspension is a system of springs that connects the wheels to the body of a vehicle, and it minimizes the transfer of the motions to the vehicle body. It provides comfort to passengers, but from a video game point of view it doesn't matter, as we are not actually driving the vehicle. For a video game, suspension will decide how the vehicle handle turns and bumps on the terrain. Off-road vehicles will have a very soft suspension that allows them to go high speed on bumpy terrain, without transferring too much force to the body of the vehicle. But this soft suspension has a drawback in real life. With this suspension, vehicle's weight is shifted to one side when it's turning, and it leads the vehicle to roll. But in video games you can cheat with real-life physics and get desired results. This is the beauty of video games. So now you know what suspension is. Let's discuss how developers implement it in games. First, let's understand what we need to do. We need to make a spring system. Now let's talk about spring forces. We're all familiar with springs. Springs are these often coils of metal or maybe plastic. And some of them are set so that you can stretch them out, and some of them are set so that you can stretch or compress them. And there's other spring-like objects like rubber bands, which again are ones that stretch only. Well, the common thing about all these spring and spring-like objects is they have what we call a restoring force. What that means is that when I stretch the spring out, there's a force that pulls the spring back in. And if I compress the spring, there's a force which pushes the spring back out. So it's always trying to go back to its equilibrium position. When people started trying to figure out an equation for it, there was a scientist named Hooke who did a series of experiments where he stretched out springs, and as he stretched them, he carefully measured how much forces were involved, how much force it took to stretch the spring out, and how much force the spring pulled back with. And he found that almost all of these objects, as long as you didn't stretch them too far, followed a nice linear relationship here. And so Hooke's law tells us that the force exerted by the spring is minus kx, where that k is the spring constant, and it's a measure of how stiff the spring is. And Rx is the distance from equilibrium, or how far stretched or compressed that spring is. So we have an equation. F is equal to minus kx. Now let's see how we can implement this. Let's take an approximate shape that will represent our car. We have to make 4 springs from the 4 corners of the car. For this, most of the games use a method called ray cast. It is a method in which you shoot a ray from a point. And you get the information like, did the ray hit some object, where did it hit, what is the length of the ray, and more. I will link some videos for you to learn about raycast in the description. So we will shoot 4 rays from each bottom corner of the vehicle body in downward direction, and do some calculations and simulate the spring. For calculations I will link a video in the description because it will be a waste of time if I explain the same thing. So watch that video and implement it in your project. By the way, that video also explains the raycast method with the coding part for Unity. And also one more concept called damping. If you don't use damping, your vehicle will be doing this. After implementing what is explained in that video, you will get a result like this. Raycast is the most common method used for simulating spring. But I found a better way to make suspension for vehicles for Unity without coding. So in the next video I will discuss that. It has some pros and cons also. So definitely watch the next video. At the end, if this video was helpful for you, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this, and hit the bell icon so that you get a notification whenever I upload a new video. And also, if you watch the video mentioned in the description about making suspension for vehicles, and you are having difficulties in the implementation, comment down, or message me on my Instagram account, I would love to help you. Till then, stay safe, stay motivated and keep making games. Goodbye.